Okay, yesterday was apparently a good day. I guess I didn't have any more seizures. Thank God. So as a result of not having any seizures or episodes yesterday, I'm not nearly as tired today. I did wake up a little bit too early, but I'm not completely wiped out like I normally would be. So because of that, obviously I'm in a better mood, and I figure why not try to kick things up a little bit on the YouTube channel. And we're gonna tell the first story that I told in quite a long time, especially with recent events. I'm just trying to get back in the groove of things, and you know, I don't want this stuff to drag me down. So let's kick things off with a story. Now this story is gonna be about having a seizure, but it's like a little bit more of a life story rather than telling you guys what's wrong. So the first one that I actually had was a few weeks ago at this thing called Santa Calagan, and it's basically like this big carnival slash fair thing that we have every year here in Kansas City. And the reason they call it Santa Calagan is because it started here in my city, and there were the 3 different trails that people took to get to the west basically. So you had the Santa Fe, New Mexico trail, so that's where you get the Santa part. Then you have Cala for California, then you have Gone for Oregon, because those were basically the 3 places that people went when they traveled west: Oregon, California, and Santa Fe. And that's pretty much where it all goes, and apparently this is pretty much where it all started. So that's the whole thing. Santa Calagan Days, that's what they call it. It's just like this big festival. There's lots of like tents and stuff where you can buy stuff. Then there's a whole section with rides and games, and it's like, I don't know, it's a lot of fun. People enjoy it, and it's a big deal around here. So the first seizure that I actually had was there. So me and my sister were actually riding quite a few rides there. We got the little wristbands that allowed us to ride like anything we want for that night, basically unlimited rides. So we got those. It was like 20 bucks for a wristband, and we're riding a whole bunch of stuff. We're getting dizzy, we're having fun, and then we get on one of those things where it's like a gravity ride, and it spins you around so fast that your body just like sticks to the wall. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, but a lot of places have these kind of rides. So we got on one of those, and it made us really dizzy because like it was almost like a really harsh gravity effect. Like I tried to lift my head off of the wall, and it like suctioned me back to it, and it just like was almost choking us at some points. And that was kind of a shitty aspect to the ride, but overall it was fun, and I felt totally fine. My sister was worried about getting sick because there was like a lot of strobe lights and stuff, and that makes her nauseous. And so I was trying to keep her focused on me. I was looking at her, I was like, hey Sarah, look at me, you know, you're not gonna focus on lights if you're staring at me. Look at me, I'm okay, you're gonna be okay, it's all good, this is fun, right? And then we get off, and as soon as I hit the ground and start walking, I'm like, okay, I don't feel so good either. And I kind of threw up in my mouth, but I held it back because I didn't want to throw up in front of everyone, because fuck that, that's embarrassing. But we were definitely feeling the effects of this ride, so we decided to sit down on the curb for a couple minutes, and you know, everything was good after that. So we started riding a few more things, everything was all good, continuation of what we were doing before basically, just riding rides, having fun, and not having to worry about anything. Then we go on this one ride where it's just like a whole bunch of circular motions, and like it's a lot of hills and stuff, and every time you go over the hill on this one roller coaster, it gets faster and faster and faster and faster, and there's a lot of loud music and loud noises and stuff just to mess with your head. And after we got off that ride, I was like feeling a little woozy again, kind of the same feeling as the one spinny ride, the gravity thing. And then I threw up in my mouth, and I couldn't get rid of it. Like it was too much to like swallow back down, and as gross as that sounds, that's what I did the first time, but this one was just too much to like get rid of. And so I held it in my mouth until we were out of the way, and I just kind of had to point to Sarah. I was like pointing at the street. I was like, we need to go over there away from people, but I couldn't actually talk, so I was like so finally she understood what I was talking about, and we got behind the ride, and it started like pouring out my nose from like holding so much in my mouth. It was absolutely disgusting. And finally I just opened my mouth, it all flew out, and I was like, wow, okay, I feel a lot better. And I felt totally fine after that. Everything was all good. So we rode a couple more things, and I was like, okay, you know, it's probably a terrible idea, but I feel up to it, let's do it. So we rode a couple more things, and again, everything was fine. You know, it just seemed like that one ride kind of threw me off, messed with my stomach a little bit. I threw up once, and it was cool. I felt totally fine. So we rode a couple more things, everything was still good, and then we got on this one that was like a hang glider type thing. You lay down on this platform on your stomach, and they strap you in like over your back, and it's just like this whole unique flying experience, and that's what the ride was supposed to simulate. And it's like spinning you around and around and around, and you're going up and down, like getting all these different altitude levels and stuff. And I felt great, you know, the wind was in my face. I was laughing, talking to my sister the whole time. She was right next to me, and the next thing I remember was I just kind of laid my head down. I felt lost, and so I laid my head down because I was kind of tired, and I guess I passed out at that moment. And while I was passed out, I threw up all over myself in the middle of the ride, and I guess we went around a few more times for like a minute or two after I got sick, but I wasn't aware of all this. I just remember laying my head down, and then I woke up, and there was firefighters and, you know, paramedics and just a lot of people surrounding me, asking me a lot lot of questions. But apparently we went around a few more times, so that's kind of how I knew that I passed out. And honestly, my sister said that I was unresponsive and that kind of stuff. And I guess while I was on the ride, it wasn't like a cold night. It was probably like 80 something degrees outside. And I guess I was like shaking and stuff, and like my hands and my body itself were really cold. And people didn't know what was going on there. The paramedics were like worried because my hands were like ice cold, and I wasn't responding. I couldn't talk. I couldn't move my neck. I couldn't move my arms or my legs. So they had to get me off the ride, and they decided to call an ambulance. They got me off the ride, put me on a stretcher, took me to the ambulance, and they wrapped me up in a blanket and stuff, and they turned the heater on in the ambulance, and I guess I was still shaking like uncontrollably, and it got a lot worse, and they considered it like kind of a panic seizure, I guess, and that was ultimately the start of things. And this was a few weeks ago. So like I said, you know, I said in a couple of videos ago, I had the first one a few weeks ago, and then everything was good for a couple weeks, and then the past week has just been terrible. Well, yeah, this is where it all started. This was the first one that I had, and it was good. You know, this happened. I didn't go to work the next day. I opened on Saturdays. This happened on a Friday night, so I was just really shaken up. Like by the time I got home, I just wanted to go home and lay in bed, and it was just a terrible experience. I felt so embarrassed throwing up in front of everybody and getting sick on a carnival ride. But oh man, I mean, you know, shit happens, and this is just one of those things, which sucks. It really does. But you know, I guess if you're gonna leave a carnival or a fair, you know, why not leave in style? Go out in an ambulance and just go out, you know, just leave with a bang. And you know, while you're in that ambulance, just kind of have a seizure. Go with it, you know. Don't know where you're at, you know. You really gotta sell the whole experience, you know. Okay, obviously I'm joking, you know. You don't want to leave the carnival in an ambulance, but pretty scary experience. I'd never been in an ambulance before, and even since then I've only been in one after that. So technically I've only been in an ambulance twice ever in my life that I know of anyway. But yeah, this is what happened. Not the best experience of my life. Definitely would not recommend it. I was scared. I was really scared. Let's go ahead and throw that out there. But yeah, that's gonna wrap up today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed a bit of a story. Don't ever get basically thrown out of a carnival. I didn't really get thrown out, but like they kind of forced me to leave, and to be honest, I wanted to leave. I did not want to stay there any longer. And yeah, so I left the carnival in an ambulance. That was great. No, it wasn't. But yeah, that's gonna wrap up today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this story. Trying to kick back into gear with things. There will be more stories coming soon. It's just a matter of when I actually get them done and how I'm feeling. But like I said, I'm feeling a lot better today. No seizures yesterday, and that's definitely a good sign. Definitely a thumbs up on my end. So hopefully it continues to stay that way. I would love that. No more seizures for like the rest of my life. That would be a great bonus, I guess. But yeah, hopefully you guys did enjoy. Hopefully you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. I'm out of— oh, my screen fell asleep. Hold up. Okay, we're still recording. All right, good. Yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. I'm out of here.